title. Hi everyone, welcome back to Sweet Reflections Candles. I got my notes here if you see me looking downward. Yeah, I know I haven't been on the channel for about 3 weeks or so, and I'm going to try to come back at least a minimum of once a week. But with that being said, I would like to share with you 7 tips that I use to help give me a strong scent throw on my candles. So with that being said, welcome to Sweet Reflections Candles. So let me just ask, have you ever made a candle and it was so beautiful and everything, but when you lit it up, you could barely smell it? I just want you to know you're definitely not alone. Weak scent throws is one of the most common problem beginners candle makers experience. I've even experienced it. I can remember experiencing when I first started making candles about 5 years ago. I used to think, boy, I can't smell anything, but it got better as time went on. And again, like I say, I would like to share those tips with you. So let's that being said, let's go with tip number 1. What did I write down? Okay, you want to use the right amount of fragrance oil. So one of the biggest mistakes that beginners make is not using enough fragrance oil. Most waxes can hold up to 6 to 10% fragrance oil. And if you don't add enough oil, your candle will not smell strong at all. It'll just be a weak smelling candle. For example, if you make a 16-ounce candle, if you're going to make a 16-ounce candle, this should hold anywhere from 1 to 1.6 ounces of fragrance oil. And it also depends on the type of wax that you use. Oh, this smells so good. This is one of my Valentine's Day candles from my Valentine's Day collection. Okay. Tip number 2. Add your fragrance oil at the right temperature. Temperature is extremely important when you're making a scented candle. For many candles such as soy, coconut, cocoa, apricot, the temperature usually should be around 170 to 185 degrees Fahrenheit and 80 degrees Celsius. So if the wax is too cool, when you add your fragrance oil, the scent may not properly bind with the wax, and this could lead to a very weak scent throw. Okay? Tip number 3 is, I noticed, well, speaking for myself, in the beginning, you know, a lot of beginners, you know, we burn our candles too soon after we make them. Soy candles, for example, coconut candles, or cocoa apricot. Soy candles will usually take up to 7 to 14 days before you burn them. Your cocoa candles usually take 5 to 7 days before they can cure properly, and your cocoa apricot should take 7 to 10 days before curing. This curing time, it allows for the wax and the fragrance to fully combine, which can make a very big difference in how strong your candle will smell. So usually the longer you let your candle sit, the stronger the scent throw is going to be. But The numbers that I just gave you, the length of time, the days, that's minimum. If usually with the soy candle, if you burn it too soon, within 1 to 2 weeks, you know, your scent throw is not going to be that great. And the same for the other two. Okay, let's go with tip number 4. Tip number 4 is you really want to use the right size wick. The wick you choose, it can also affect how strong your candles smell. For example, if your wick is too small, it may not melt enough of the wax to release the fragrance into the air. And if the wick is too large, then it may burn too hot, and then it'll burn off your fragrance too quickly. Okay, tip number 5, you want to definitely use a high quality fragrance oil. I use Candle Signs and I use Macy's. That's where I purchase my most of my supplies from. All of my supplies really from them, either Macy's or Candle Signs, mostly Candle Signs. Okay, so you want to use a high quality fragrance oil. Some fragrance oils are much stronger and they perform much better. So using a high quality fragrance oil, it can make a big difference in both your cold throw and your hot throw. So when making your candles, take that into consideration, that you really want to use a high quality oil, fragrance oil. And tip number 6, you want to stir your fragrance oil properly. When adding your fragrance to the melted wax, make sure that you stir it thoroughly. You should stir for at least 1 to 2 minutes, and this helps the fragrance oil to combine thoroughly with the wax molecules. In other words, you should stir it at least 1 to 2 minutes and to help the fragrance oil fully combine with the wax. I use this spatula when I'm making my candles to stir, because not only does it gives me more control over what I'm doing for 1 to 2 minutes, it reduces air bubbles that are inside of that can be produced inside of the stirring, and it gives me a more consistent and overall blend. So when it kind of reassures the fact that the molecules are blending thoroughly with the wax. So yeah, I use a spatula, and I purchased this from Amazon. And make sure you stir a minimum of 2 minutes. Okay, and last but not least, tip number 7. This is extremely important, guys. You got to test your candles, mainly because you don't want to burn anybody or anything down. But for real, you have to test your candles. Testing your candles, it is so very, very important that you do that. So what you want to do is you want to try to burn your candle in different room spaces to see how well the scent throw is going. For example, put a candle in the bathroom to see how it smells in there. Put a candle in the kitchen or in the bedroom or the living room, in different spaces to see, how far the scent throw is going. Testing this will help you to figure out your wick. This is going to help you figure out your fragrance load, and it's going to help you figure out the wax combination that you're going to use for your particular vessel. In other words, testing helps you figure out your wick, your fragrance load, and your wax combination for your chosen vessel. On this particular candle, this is my chosen vessel. And I have in here a wooden wick. And of course I tested it and went through all the things to make sure that this wick burns properly. Cause ain't nobody trying to be sued or anything like that. So make sure you test your candles properly before you even think about putting them out there in the world. So guys, with that being said, I hope these tips can help you create a strong scented candle. So if you enjoy candle making tips and candle business content, make sure to subscribe to Sweet Reflection Candles and give this video a thumbs up. Also, comment below and let me know your favorite candle scent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. Peace.